What's the deepest pain a parent can experience? The death of their own child. Now imagine that child died while actively trying to destroy everything you've built, yet your heart still breaks for them. This is the story of King David's grief over his rebellious son Absalom. In ancient Israel, around 1000 BC, King David ruled from Jerusalem. He was known as a man after God's own heart, yet his family life was marked by tragedy and dysfunction. David had multiple wives and many children, but among them was Absalom, described as the most handsome man in all Israel. From the crown of his head to the sole of his foot, there was no blemish in him. Absalom wasn't just physically beautiful, he was charismatic, intelligent, and politically savvy. But beneath this exterior lay deep resentment toward his father. The seeds of rebellion were planted when David failed to properly address Absalom's brother Amnon's assault on their sister Tamar. David's inaction left Absalom feeling betrayed and abandoned by the father who should have protected his family. For 2 years, Absalom nursed his anger. Then he took matters into his own hands, orchestrating Amnon's murder during a family celebration. Fearing his father's wrath, Absalom fled to his grandfather's kingdom and remained in exile for 3 years. David mourned for his son daily, torn between his role as king seeking justice and his heart as a father missing his child. Eventually, David's military commander Joab arranged for Absalom's return to Jerusalem, but the reunion was cold and distant. David refused to see his son for 2 more years. When they finally met, the damage was irreversible. The relationship that should have been restored was instead poisoned by years of hurt and misunderstanding. Absalom began plotting his revenge. He positioned himself at the city gates, intercepting people seeking justice from the king. With his natural charm, he convinced them that he would be a better ruler than his father. 2 Samuel 15:6 tells us that Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. After 4 years of careful manipulation, Absalom declared himself king in Hebron, David's former capital. The rebellion spread rapidly across Israel. David, caught off guard, was forced to flee Jerusalem with his loyal followers. Picture this, the greatest king in Israel's history, running for his life from his own son. As David escaped, he wept openly. When told that his trusted counselor Ahithophel had joined Absalom, David prayed desperately for God to turn the man's counsel into foolishness. Even in his darkest hour, David turned to God rather than plotting revenge against his son. The inevitable confrontation came in the forest of Ephraim. Before the battle, David gave explicit orders to his commanders. Deal gently with young Absalom for my sake. Even as his son sought to kill him, David's paternal love remained unbroken. The battle was fierce, and David's experienced warriors prevailed. 20,000 men died that day, more killed by the treacherous forest terrain than by weapons. In the chaos, Absalom's famous hair became his downfall. Riding his mule under a thick oak tree, his hair caught in the branches, leaving him suspended helplessly. Joab found him there. Despite David's orders, Joab thrust 3 spears through Absalom's heart. The rebellion was over, but the real tragedy was just beginning. When the messenger brought news of victory to David, the king asked only one question: "Is young Absalom safe?" The messenger's evasive answer told David everything. His son was dead. David's response reveals the heart of a broken father. He went to his chamber above the gate and wept, crying out words that echo through history. "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom. Would God I had died for you. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." This wasn't the controlled grief of a king. This was the raw anguish of a father who would have gladly traded places with his child. David's mourning was so intense that his victorious army felt ashamed, sneaking back into the city as if they had been defeated rather than triumphant. Joab confronted David, warning that his excessive grief was demoralizing the troops who had risked their lives to save him. Reluctantly, David composed himself and appeared before his people, but his heart remained shattered. David's grief teaches us profound truths about love, forgiveness, and the consequences of broken relationships. Sometimes our greatest victories in life come at the cost of our deepest personal losses. David saved his kingdom, but lost his son forever.